company, my previous career for about 10 years, and I saw the shift from a brick and mortar to a more e-commerce business. So I wanted to get into the e-commerce and the delivery business, and LaserShip was a perfect platform for that. So I was helping my dad out with his deli, delivering food for them and helping his business out. I got to meet a LaserShip team member who told me all about this delivery service. I was very interested, and then I hooked up with the GM afterwards, and it's all started from there. I started my business in August 2018. I started delivering by myself. We started to grow our team one by one. Now, a year later,
welcome to the second lesson in the Google Tag Manager
series. I'm just going to work out and
video, I'll show you
also
how
be
to
using
add
something.
tags to your GTM container.
Looking at something
Steps to add a
informational.
Google Ads remarketing
Just
tag,
to
the LinkedIn Insight tag, and a custom HTML tag for the Metapixel.
work out and learn at the same time. So
We're
exercise
going
and
to start by adding the
exercise.
Google Ads remarketing tag
You
to
know
our
what I mean.
website. Before we do,
Yeah.
I want to quickly mention that in the first lesson in this series, we covered how to get started with Google Tag Manager. So if you've missed it, I've included a link for you in the description below this video. Okay, let's start by heading to our Google Ads account. We're looking at the new version of Google Ads. So to set up our Google Ads remarketing tag, we select Tools, then Shared Library, and we select Audience Manager. If you're using the previous version of Google Ads, you'll find this by selecting Tools at the top of the interface and selecting Audience Manager. We can see in my demo account there are 3 audience lists. These lists have been created automatically, so they're the default lists. And we can see there's a list called All Visitors. This is the list we'll send data to using Google Tag Manager. To do this, we need to add the Google Ads tag to our website. So let's select the Your Data Sources tab at the top. We can see the Google Ads tag, so let's click Details for this source. Now let's select Tag Setup at the bottom. Now let's select the option to add the tag using Google Tag Manager. And we need to copy the conversion ID. Now we can head to Google Tag Manager. Let's navigate to Tags. We can see the Google tag we created in the first lesson of this Google Tag Manager series. So now let's create another tag. Let's name the tag Google Ads Remarketing. Now let's select Tag Configuration. Let's select Google Ads and choose Google Ads Remarketing as the tag type. We can see an alert at the top saying Conversion Linker tag missing in the container. The Conversion Linker tag improves the accuracy of conversion tracking by storing information about the ad click using a first-party cookie on our website. If you already have the Conversion Linker tag in your Google Tag Manager container, then you'll see a message saying you already have the Conversion Linker tag. But since we don't have the tag yet, let's click Create. Let's name the tag Google Ads Conversion Linker. We're going to leave the default settings, but we can see the trigger has been automatically set to all pages. This is okay, but it's recommended that we use the initialization all pages trigger instead. So let's select Triggering. Remove the all pages trigger. And let's select the initialization all pages trigger. This will fire our tag on all of the pages of our website before any other tags, apart from any tags used for consent. Now let's save the tag. We're back on our Google Ads Remarketing tag, so now we need to paste our conversion ID into the tag configuration. Let's leave the other default settings. Now we need to add a trigger to our tag, so let's select Triggering. Let's select the initialization all pages trigger. This will add the Google Ads Remarketing tag to all of the pages on our website. Now we can save the tag. We've added the Google Ads Remarketing tag and the Conversion Linker tag to our Google Tag Manager container. Next, we're going to add the LinkedIn Insight tag to our website using Google Tag Manager. The LinkedIn Insight tag lets you report on the performance of your ads on LinkedIn and target ads to people who've been on your website. Okay, let's head to LinkedIn. I've already logged into LinkedIn and opened the Campaign Manager. We then need to select Analyze and select the Insight tag. Since we're going to add the tag using Google Tag Manager, let's select the option at the bottom that says, I will use a tag manager. Now we need to copy our partner ID. And let's head to Google Tag Manager. We're still looking at our tags, so let's create a new tag. Let's name the tag LinkedIn Insight. Now let's select Tag Configuration, and let's search for LinkedIn and select the Insight tag. We just need to paste our partner ID as the tag ID. And now let's select Triggering. And let's choose the Initialization All Pages trigger. This will fire our tag on all of the pages of our website. And let's save the tag. Now that we've added the Google Ads Remarketing tag and the LinkedIn Insight tag, we're going to add the meta pixel for Facebook to our website using a custom HTML tag. Let's head to Facebook. I've already opened the Meta Business Suite and opened Events Manager. This is where we can get the meta pixel to add to our website. For this account, I've already created a pixel for my website, but if you're getting started for the first time and you don't have an existing pixel, you'll just need to select the option to set up the meta pixel. Since I already have a pixel, let's select Manage Integrations on the top right corner. Then for the meta pixel, let's select Manage and choose Install Pixel on New Website. Now let's choose the option to manually add the pixel code. And let's select Install Base Code on the left. We're now given the pixel code to add to our website, so let's copy this code. And let's head to Google Tag Manager. Now we need to create a new tag. Let's name the tag MetaPixel Base Code. And let's select Tag Configuration. And let's choose Custom HTML as the tag type. Now we can paste our base code. And let's select Advanced. And under Tag Firing Options, let's change once per event to once per page. This will mean that the metapixel isn't fired multiple times as someone is browsing a page on our website. Now let's select Triggering. And we're going to select the Initialization All Pages trigger. Like the other tags we've already added, this will mean that our metapixel for Facebook is added to all of the pages of our website. Now let's save our tag. We've now added the metapixel for Facebook. So that's how we can add additional tags to Google Tag Manager. What tags are you going to implement using Google Tag Manager? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to learn more about Google Tag Manager, then subscribe to my channel because I will be releasing more tutorials. We'll be covering how to preview and test your tags, migration steps, and how to track conversions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Welcome to the third lesson in the Google Tag Manager series. In this video, you'll learn how to test and preview the tags you've added to your GTM container. I'll show you how to use Tag Assistant, and I'll also share our recommended workflow you can use for adding new tags to your website. Whenever you add tags, triggers, or variables to your container, it's always a good idea to test them to ensure they work as you expect and send the correct information to the platforms you're using. For example, if you add a check or an ad tag to your website, then you should check the tag expiry correctly before you publish it to your online website. Okay, let's head to Google Tag Manager. See that we have all of the tags we should use in the previous two lessons in our container. This is the Google Ads Conversion Link tag and Remarketing tag. opens the Tag Assistant. To use Tag Assistant, you will need to ensure that you've added the Google Tag Manager container code to all of the pages on your website. If you haven't added the container code to your site yet, then feel free to pause this video and watch the first lesson where we cover how to install Google Tag Manager. Since I've already installed the container on my demo website, I'm going to enter the URL. I also recommend leaving Include Debug Signal enabled. This will let you preview events in Google Analytics using the debug view. Now let's click Connect. Another tab opens with the URL we entered. Our website loads, and we can see on the bottom right corner that we're connected to Tag Assistant. This means we can now browse our website and complete other actions to test our tags, triggers, and variables. Did you run into any problems connecting to your website? If Tag Assistant doesn't load, I recommend checking that pop-ups aren't being blocked in your browser. You can also try closing your website and refreshing the Tag Assistant tab. I also suggest using Chrome as your browser and double check that the correct container is installed on your website and that you're previewing the right container. Just make sure the container ID is the same in GTM as the one installed on your website. Okay, now let's navigate to another page. Again, we can see that we're still connected to Tag Assistant. Now let's open Tag Assistant.
Ooh.
At the top of the window, you'll see your GTM container ID. And since we're using a Google tag to send data to Google Analytics, we can see the measurement ID for our Google Analytics property too. On the left-hand side, you'll see the pages that you've loaded while using the preview mode. We can see both of the pages we viewed. We can also see the events that have been pushed to the data layer for each of the pages. These data layer events are what we use to trigger our tags. For example, if we select the initialization event, we can see the tags that fired when each page loaded. And if there are any tags that weren't fired for the data layer event, these will be listed at the bottom. We can select a tag to see more details. Let's select the Google tag that we're using for Google Analytics. We can see the details for each page loaded. And if there are any tags that weren't fired for the data layer event, these will be listed at the bottom. We can select a tag to see more details. Let's select the Google tag that we're using for Google Analytics. We can see the details for the tag. For our Google tag, this shows us the measurement ID for our Google Analytics property. On the top right corner, you can also switch how variables are presented in Tag Assistant. Since values is selected, this means we can see the measurement ID. However, we can change this to names. To then see the names of variables used in the tag. Since we created a variable for our measurement ID, we can see the name of this variable is now shown. Let's change this back to values to see the value instead. Below the tag's properties, we can see the trigger conditions that allow the tag to fire. And below this, we can see any exception triggers that might prevent the tag from firing. Let's close the tag. Apart from viewing the tags, we can also select the Variables tab to see the information that's available to use in Google Tag Manager. And the Data Layer tab lets you view the information in the data layer. Now let's select our measurement ID for Google Analytics at the top. This lets us view all of the events that have been sent to our Google Analytics property. For example, we can select the first page we viewed. This lets us see the different parameters and values that were sent to our reports. Let's close this. And let's select our GTM container ID. Apart from the Google tag, we can also see the other tags that have fired. We can see the Google Ads Conversion Linker tag, the Google Ads Remarketing tag, the LinkedIn Insight tag, and the Metapixel Base Code tag for Facebook. All of these tags use the All Pages initialization trigger, which means they'll fire on every page of our website. All of these tags are fired, so we can see they're working correctly. In a future video, we'll cover how to track a conversion action using GTM. This is where we will create a custom trigger that only fires on certain pages. When we create a custom trigger, it becomes even more important to preview and test your tags. Have you tested your tags in Google Tag Manager? Did you find any issues with your tags? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. And here's my recommended workflow for Google Tag Manager. I recommend following these steps for any changes you want to make to your container, whether it's adding a new tag or even changing an existing tag. The first thing is to add or change the tags in the container. This might also include updating or adding triggers and variables. Then it's time to preview the tags, triggers, and variables you've added. Make sure you navigate to any relevant pages and perform any actions you're aiming to track on your website using the preview mode. As we've seen, this allows you to check exactly what happens. You can see the information that is going to be sent and check that everything is working as expected. If you encounter any issues, you can diagnose those issues while you're using the preview mode. You can also share the preview if needed. Next, you can check the draft version of your container to make sure that any changes applied in the draft are correct before publishing. You can also check the change history in case anyone else might have been in Google Tag Manager since you started making these changes, to make sure that none of their changes are also going to be published when you publish. So that's how you can test and preview tags in Google Tag Manager. Have you previewed your tags using Tag Assistant? I'd love to know. Let me know in the comments below. And to learn more about Google Tag Manager, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. I will be releasing more tutorials for you. I'll cover how to track conversions using GTM, and I'll also be sharing my GTM checklist. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.
Creating a website can be complex. Choose hosting, a simple place to host your WordPress site. Build web with quick access, intuitive control panel, and its sleek design. Your website security is our top priority. All hosting our plans come with free SSL, and the built-in malware scanner detects security flaws in real time. It also repairs the compromised files and protects your site from spam. WordPress has great SEO tools to help people easily find your blog or online store and drive traffic to it. We use light-speed servers, super fast storage, caching systems, and a CDN to ensure fast loading times and a lag-free WordPress experience. Already got a website? Use Hostinger's free WordPress auto migration tool. Need a catchy name for your site? All premium Hostinger plans come with a free domain. Join a community of millions of creators worldwide making money with WordPress-powered websites. And at a low cost. It's web hosting as it's supposed to be. Choose freedom. Hostinger. 3, 2, online.
There's this new way to get AI in just about any app that you use. You can combine AI with over 5,000 apps to automate work with apps that you're already using every day, like Gmail, Facebook Messenger, Google Sheets, Airtable, Slack, and thousands more. For example, we can bring ChatGPT into Facebook Messenger.
Welcome to the fourth lesson in the Google Tag Manager training series. In this lesson, you'll learn about migrating to Google Tag Manager. We'll review my checklist to ensure everything is ready before publishing your container. We'll also cover one more obstacle Google face when migrating. If you missed the previous lessons, you'll find this in the description below this video. Lessons cover how to get started, plus adding and testing tags. The steps you'll need to take to migrate your implementation to Google Tag Manager. To enable the tags you want to recover on your website. googletagmanager.com, but this isn't actually the Google Tag Manager code. Apart from the comment above the tag, the giveaway is that the script includes references to G-Tag, which is short for Google Tag. So this code is the Google Tag. It was also previously called the Global Site Tag, gtag.js, or even the Google Analytics Tag. And to add to the confusion, we can also find the Google Tag inside Google Tag Manager. Here we can see the option to create a Google Tag as we've covered in the previous lessons. So if you're using the first option we looked at and you want to use Google Tag Manager, you will need to follow the migration steps we're going to cover. However, if you're already using the Google Tag inside Google Tag Manager, you might already be up and running. However, it's still important to check that the migration steps we'll cover have been followed. Okay, now that we've covered the difference between the two types of Google Tags, let's walk through some of the different scenarios you might encounter. The simplest scenario is if you're just getting started. For example, if you're launching an entirely new website and you don't have an existing Google Analytics property. In this case, you can set everything up from scratch in Google Tag Manager. You will create your property, get your measurement ID from Google Analytics, and configure your tags in Google Tag Manager. Then there is the scenario of just adding the standard Google tag to your website. You might be using a plugin, or maybe you've added the tag directly to your website, but you're just using the standard tag and you haven't made any customizations to your tracking. In this case, you can add the Google Tag Manager code in parallel to the existing tag. Replicate the tag in Google Tag Manager, then publish your container and remove the existing tag. The next scenario is if you're using a modified Google tag or you've implemented customizations. For example, if you've added the tag to your website and you've configured e-commerce tracking. In this case, you'll need to replicate the Google tag in Google Tag Manager, and you'll also need to ensure Google Tag Manager is configured to capture your e-commerce transaction details and pass them to Google Analytics. And continuing this scenario, you might have implemented additional customizations, like custom parameters to collect custom dimensions and metrics. You will need to take extra time to ensure that these customizations are implemented using Google Tag Manager before you remove any existing tags from your website. And apart from Google Analytics, you'll also need to look for any other tags and any other third-party code you've added to your website. In most cases, these can also be migrated to Google Tag Manager. For example, if you've added tags for other analytics platforms like Hotjar, and tags for advertising platforms like the LinkedIn Insight tag and the Meta Pixel for Facebook. Now let's run through my migration checklist. Depending on the current tags that have been added to your website, you can customize this checklist. If you want to download a copy of my Google Tag Manager guide that includes this checklist, you can find a link to get the guide in the description below this video. Step 1 is to create a list of your existing tags. This should include your Google tag and any other tags you've added to your website. It's also a good idea to make a note of how the tags are added to your website. For example, you might be using a plugin to add Google Analytics to your website, and maybe you've added the Meta Pixel by pasting it into your website's template. Step 2 is to create a list of any tracking customizations you've made. For example, you might have implemented e-commerce tracking to record the items people purchase on your website. Or you might have modified the Google tag to send data to Google Analytics and Google Ads simultaneously. Or maybe you've adjusted the Google tag to send custom events and custom parameters to Google Analytics. Step 3 is to document your current implementation. It can be helpful to create a spreadsheet that contains all of the tags and customizations.
This is how everyone measures clients-wise. CPA, ROAS, like what am I getting cost per conversion, blah, 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 what the return on ad spend. These are the metrics that we should be counting.
The This spreadsheet documents different tags currently used on a website, so you can have a full view of all the elements you need to implement in Google Tag Manager. Creating a spreadsheet like this is optional, but it's useful if you have multiple tags and customizations you need to migrate to your container. Step 4 is to add the Google Tag Manager code to all of your website's pages. The way you add the container code will depend on the website platform you're using. For example, if you're using WordPress, you might use a plugin to add the code to your pages. Or if you're using Squarespace, you'll use the code injection option to add the code. In the first lesson, we walked through adding the container code to our website, so feel free to re-watch the first lesson if needed. I've included a link in the description below this video. Step 5 is optional. It's to work with your web developer to add a custom data layer to your website. A custom data layer makes information available to Google Tag Manager. For example, if you're using an e-commerce platform that doesn't provide a Google Tag Manager integration, you will want to implement a custom data layer that includes transaction details. This means that when a transaction occurs, you can pass all of the transaction details to Google Analytics, Google Ads, and any other tags where you want to send e-commerce data. Step 6 is to check that variables have been enabled or created for any information you want to use in your tags and triggers. For example, if you want to track people clicking on a particular website promotion, you might need to enable the click classes or click ID variables so you can make use of the classes or ID of the element someone clicks on your website. Step 7 is to create all of your tags in Google Tag Manager. This is where you take all of your notes from step 1, 2, and 3 and add all of the tags you're using to your container. Step 8 is to apply appropriate triggers to your tags. For example, when you add the Google tag for Google Analytics, you can use the built-in initialization all pages trigger. This will mean the tag is added to every page of your website. Then for any tags that need to fire on individual pages or for specific actions, you'll need to create custom triggers in Google Tag Manager. Triggers can be created based on a range of actions, from the page someone is viewing, to the element they click, to watching an embedded YouTube video. There are lots of different types of triggers you can create. If you'd like to learn more about the different types of triggers you can create, check out the extra resources in the description below this video. I've included a link to my Google Tag Manager glossary. Step 9 is to test all of your tags using the preview mode. We covered Tag Assistant and the preview mode in the previous lesson. If you missed it, I've included a link in the description below this video. Finally, step 10. Once you're happy with the tags, triggers, and variables you've added to Google Tag Manager, it's time to publish your container. The important thing to remember is that when you publish your container, you should remove any tags that are still hard-coded on your website. For example, if you've added the Google Tag Manager container code to your website, and you also have the Google tag on your website, you should remove the Google tag when you publish the container. This is because you'll now have the tag in Google Tag Manager and you don't want it to be duplicated on your website. Once you've followed these steps and migrated to Google Tag Manager, you can add new tags to your website without needing to adjust any code. And when you do make changes, don't forget to preview and test your changes before they're published. If you'd like to continue learning about Google Tag Manager, please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. In the next lesson, we'll cover conversion tracking using Google Tag Manager. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
We're back! And this is season 2 of Richer Lives, the show that helps you learn how to use money to live your best life. I'm Vivian too, aka your rich BFF.
I'm Brian Walsh, aka Dr. Mike. Still constantly reinventing just to continue to fight to be there.
You can find all our episodes on youtube.com/SoFi. Mine becomes ours among good friends. Nutella biscuits. The crunchy golden baked biscuit with a creamy heart of Nutella. A delicious combination that just
In this video, you'll learn how to create custom triggers to track conversions.
Oh my God.
We'll look at how to set up the Google Ads conversion tracking tag and how to track a custom conversion in Google Analytics. This is the 5th lesson in the Google Tag Manager training series. So far, we've covered how to get started, adding tags, previewing and testing tags, and how to migrate to Google Tag Manager.
Well, after this, we're done.
In this training series, we've already added tags that are fired on all of the pages of our website. However, there are times when you'll need to trigger a tag on certain pages or for certain actions. Let's start by adding a Google Ads conversion tracking tag that only fires on a specific thank you page. To do this, we're going to create the tag in Google Ads, then we'll need to create a new tag and trigger in Google Tag Manager. Let's start by heading to Google Ads. I've already logged into my Google Ads demo account. And to configure a new conversion in the account, let's click Create on the top left corner and choose Conversion Action. I'm going to create a new dedicated Google Ads conversion tracking tag for my website. So let's select Website. We enter the URL of our website and click Scan. Let's scroll down to the bottom and select the option to create a conversion action manually. There are a few details we need to enter for our conversion. We need to select a category for the conversion. This is for reporting and segmentation in Google Ads. I'm going to select Sign Up for my conversion, but you can choose any of the available options. Let's select Conversion Action Optimization options. This lets you set the conversion as a primary or secondary action. Primary actions will be used for reporting and optimization, while secondary actions won't be used for optimizing your campaigns. I'm going to leave this set to primary. Now we need to name the conversion. I'm going to name this conversion Email Sign Up. We can then choose to assign a value for each conversion. I'm going to select the first option, which means that every conversion will be given the same value. And I'm going to enter $10 as the value. This is just a symbolic dollar value, but you should try to calculate the average value for each of your conversions. I'm going to keep things simple today, but if you'd like to learn more about Google Ads, then check out the extra resources in the description below this video. Okay, now I'm going to select 1 for the count. This means that if somebody completes our email sign-up form multiple times, we'll only count 1 conversion. If you're selling items or want to count multiple conversions for the same person, then you should select every. I'm going to leave the other default options selected, and I'm going to click Done. And let's click Save and Continue. Now we're given the dedicated Google Ads conversion tracking tag. Let's select the Google Tag Manager option. And we need to copy the conversion ID and the conversion label. Now it's time to head to Google Tag Manager. We need to create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Ads Conversion. And let's select Tag Configuration and choose Google Ads. Now we select Google Ads Conversion Tracking. At the top there is a message saying we already have a conversion linker tag. If you see a message saying you don't have the conversion linker tag yet, then feel free to watch the second lesson in this series. Basically, the conversion linker tag is designed to store details as a first-party cookie in order to improve the accuracy of your conversion tracking. Since we already have the conversion linker tag in our container, the next step is to enter the conversion ID we copied from Google Ads. And let's also add the conversion label. Next, we need to add a trigger to our tag. Let's select Triggering. And since we only want to fire this tag on a specific page on our website, we're going to create a custom trigger. To do this, we click the plus sign on the top right corner. Let's name our trigger Thank You Page. And let's select Trigger Configuration. And we're going to choose Initialization. By default, we can see that all initialization events is selected, but we only want this trigger to fire our tag on a specific page. So let's change this to some initialization events. And we're going to select Page Path from the drop-down. This lets us use everything after our website's domain for our matching condition. For this example, I'm going to leave the matching as contains. You can choose from a range of options, including starts with, ends with, and regular expression matching. If you'd like to learn more about regular expressions, I've included a link in the description below this video. Now we need to enter what we want to match. I'm going to enter /thank-u, which will mean that we match any pages on our website that contain this thank you page. Now I'm going to save the trigger. This means our Google Ads conversion tag will only fire on our thank you page. Let's save the tag.
Warning! Don't believe the AI trading hype until you watch this entire video. Hi, I'm Lane Nicholson. I'm the president of Vantage Point AI, the leading market forecasting software that's helped over 35,000 traders find life-changing trading opportunities just like these. I've been featured on news networks such as Fox Business, Yahoo Finance, and even at the NASDAQ. I was even named one of the top 10.
Now that we've added a Google Ads conversion tracking tag to our website using Google Tag Manager, let's use the same trigger to send a custom event to Google Analytics. In the first lesson of this series, we added a Google tag and created a variable for our Google Analytics measurement ID. If you haven't added this to your tag yet, then feel free to import and come back once you've watched the first lesson. Okay, let's head back to Google Tag Manager. Let's see, we already have our Google tag and a second page view and other events to Google Analytics. This is what we use when we add extra Google Analytics events in Let's add a tag Google Analytics check conversion. And let's select Tag Configuration and choose Google Analytics. Now we select GA4 Event as the tag type. And for the measurement ID, let's select the measurement ID variable we created in the first lesson. Now we need to name our tag. Google provides a list of recommended event names to use, so for this example, I'm going to enter generate_lead. You can enter any event name you like, including any of Google's other recommended events or your own custom event name. You can also pass additional information with the event using parameters and properties, but I'm going to leave these. So let's add a trigger to our tag. Let's select the custom trigger we created for our thank you page. This means our GA4 event tag will fire on our thank you page, and we will be able to configure the event as a conversion in Google Analytics. Now let's save the tag. And let's create another GA4 event tag. This time we'll create a tag that fires when someone makes a product selection on my demo site. Let's head to my demo site to take a look. My demo site has some products. Let's select a product. And we can see there is a drop-down people can use to select a quantity. For our GA4 event tag, I want to know when people make a selection using this drop-down. Let's right-click to inspect the element. And we can see that it has an ID of quantity, so we can use this to configure our trigger in Google Tag Manager. Okay, let's head back to Google Tag Manager. Before we create the tag, we need to enable the built-in variables that allow us to understand when someone makes a selection. So let's select variables. And let's select configure for the built-in variables. And let's scroll down and enable the click ID variable. Now let's select tags and create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Analytics GA4 Quantity Event. let's select Tag Configuration and select Google Analytics and choose GA4 Event as the tag type. Let's select our measurement ID variable. Now let's enter select underscore item as the event name. We're going to send a parameter with this event, so let's select event parameters and click add parameter. Let's name the parameter item underscore list underscore name. And let's click the icon to use a variable as the value. Let's choose click ID. This will mean that the value from the element's ID will be used as the value for our event parameter. For our example, this will mean that we send a value of quantity to Google Analytics. Now we need to add a trigger. Let's create a new trigger and name the trigger clicked quantity. Now let's select all elements as the trigger type. And let's select some clicks. Now we choose click ID from the drop-down. Then choose equals and enter quantity. This means our trigger will only match when people click elements on our website with an ID of quantity. Now we can save the trigger. And we can save the tag. We now have a GA4 event tag that will track when people view our thank you page, and another event tag that will track people selecting a quantity using the drop-down selector. Once you've added your new tags and triggers, it's time to preview and test your changes. We covered previewing and testing tags in the third lesson. If you need to rewatch the lesson, you can find a link to it in the description below this video. When you're happy with the changes, it's time to publish your container. To do this, we click Submit. And then we name the version of the container we're publishing. It should be something short and descriptive. You can also add a description to document your changes in more detail. When you're done, click Publish to deploy the changes to your live website. That's how you can track conversions using custom triggers in Google Tag Manager. We have a Google Ads conversion tag and 2 custom shared or event tags for our website. And you can use the same techniques to trigger any tags you like. In the next lesson, we'll cover more ways we can use custom triggers to promote our tags. You'll learn about tracking clicks, buttons, and forms using Google Tag Manager. So if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.
I said that. How is the glory application?
Yes, it's all possible with registration. Like to need to and drag and drop on interface. Use this as your workflow.
In this video, you'll learn how to track clicks, buttons, and forms using Google Tag Manager. We'll create triggers to send data to Google Analytics. You can also apply the same techniques to buy other tags, like the metapixel to send links to Facebook. This is the 6th lesson in my Google Tag Manager training series. During the series, we covered how to get started, adding tags, testing tags, and more. You can catch up on the other lessons using the links in the description below this video. Okay, to start, we're going to look at how we can track people clicking on particular elements on our website. For example, if we have an announcement banner or special offer featured on our website, we can use Google Tag Manager to fire a tag for specific clicks. Let's start by heading to my demo site. The first thing you need to do is identify the element you want to track. At the top of my demo site, we can see there is an announcement bar. So let's look at how to track people clicking on this. So let's right-click the announcement bar and let's select Inspect. We can see there's a link, and the link has a class of SQS-announcement-bar-URL. So we're going to use this class to configure a trigger in Google Tag Manager. Now that we've identified the element we want to track, let's head to Google Tag Manager. And let's create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Analytics GA4 Announcement Click. For this example, I'm going to create a GA4 event tag, but you can use the same approach to send details to another advertising or analytics platform. Let's select Tag Configuration. Choose Google Analytics and select GA4 event as the tag type. Now let's select our GA4 measurement ID variable. We covered the steps to create this variable in the first lesson. So if you don't have this variable in Google Tag Manager yet, you can hit pause, watch the first lesson, and then come back. I've included a link to the other lessons in the description below this video. Okay, now let's name the event, select _promotion. And let's select event parameters. And let's click add parameter. Let's enter promotion _ID. And let's select the variable icon on the right. Now let's choose the built-in variable option on the top right corner. And let's enable the click classes variable. This will mean that the value of the class people click will automatically be passed to Google Analytics. Remembering back to the demo site, this will be SQS-announcement-bar-URL for the click on the announcement bar. Now let's add another parameter. Let's enter location _ID. Let's select the variable icon again and the built-in option on the top right corner. This time, let's enable the click URL variable. This will automatically pass the link that is used in the announcement banner to Google Analytics. So we'll be able to report on the number of clicks along with the URL and class of the element. Next, we need to add a trigger to the tag. So let's select triggering. And let's click the plus sign to create a new trigger. Let's name the trigger announcement click. And let's select trigger configuration. Since the announcement bar is a link, we're going to choose just links. But if you wanted to track people clicking on other types of elements, then you could consider using the all elements trigger. Now let's select some link clicks. And let's ensure click class is selected. Now we can select equals and enter it. SQS-announcement-bar-URL to match clicks on the announcement bar link. Now let's save the trigger. And the tag. We can now preview our changes. We enter the URL of our website. And click Connect. My demo site loads along with Tag Assistant. Now we can click on the announcement bar and head to the Tag Assistant tab. We can now see our tag has fired, and that we're sending an event to Google Analytics every time someone clicks our announcement bar. If you've been following along, let me know how you're going in the comments. Are you tracking an announcement bar or another element on your website? Okay, now that we've covered how to track clicks on website elements like promotions, let's look at how we can fire a tag when someone clicks a website button. Let's head back to my demo website to take a look.
Many health conditions hide in plain sight. Are you missing any signs? Find out at seehiddensigns.com.
Okay, let's finish
Like
this shit.
shampoos are scientifically crafted to help make
Big
thicker,
boss.
healthier, and more
I'm a
moisturized.
big boss.
Here we can see a button
Oh my
on my
God.
demo site. When we click the button, a form opens. Let's close the form and let's right-click on the button and choose Inspect. We can see the button and we can see it has classes
You got
applied.
this. I believe in you.
We're going to use the SQS-editable-button class
Last
to
test.
configure our trigger. So let's head back to Google Tag Manager and let's create a new tag. Let's name the tag Google Analytics GA4 button form. And let's select tag configuration. Let's select Google Analytics and choose GA4 event as the tag type. Now we need to select our GA4 measurement ID. And let's name the event select_content. And just to flag, you're free to use any of the other recommended event names or even create your own event name. Now let's select event parameters. And let's click add parameter. Let's enter content_type as the name. And button as the value. Now let's add another parameter. Let's enter item_ID as the name. And let's click the variable icon for the value. Let's select the built-in option on the top right corner. And let's enable click text. This will let us capture the button text and send it to Google Analytics. An alternate option is to simply manually enter the value you would like to see in your reports, like we did for the content type parameter. Now let's add a trigger to our tag. Let's create a new trigger. Let's name the trigger form button click. And let's select all elements as the trigger type. Now let's choose some clicks and choose click class, then contains, and enter SQS-editable-button. We can now save our trigger and our tag. Now let's preview our changes. And open the demo site. We can then click on the button and head to the Tag Assistant tab.
Ah,
Great.
work
We can
complete.
see our tag has fired.
End the video.